Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. And welcome to another exciting episode of Frail Conversations. And today, as you've seen from the title, I want to talk about rest. Like, I have a lot of conversations with us, as brothers and shit, as what, some of the shit that we need to do, some of the shit we don't need to do, just, overall, well being mentally, physically, and spiritually. But I never speak on rest. I ain't gonna say I never do. I allude to it at times, but I don't think I have a specific episode on resting. And the reason why I want to have this episode on resting today is simply because I'm in a space where I'm resting right now. And it's in rest that in this moment, it's like a little bit of a paradox because in this resting moment, I've gotten a lot of clarity. I've gotten a lot more insight about life, just better adjustments to myself as a whole. And I wanted to just have a conversation about it. Like, no teaching. I mean, if nuggets come, they come. Like, no teaching, no intention, no direction, just talking about rest. Like, as men, we go, especially black men, we going into a space, we come into a space where I don't think we understand what resting really is. And this is not to imply nothingness. Shout out to the Iwi. I know I haven't pulled up all week, but it's largely um, due to this resting moment. But uh, if when it comes to rest, it's I don't want it to be confused with nothingness. And the reason why I said that was, and I use the Iwi is because I haven't shown up, but there's nothing like the way the Iwi is set up. Even if I'm not doing the webinars and the lives and everything, y'all can still go through the content. And if you need subjects matter touch ups, you can go to the pockets, you can go to the candles, you can go to the battlefields, you can go to wherever you need to be tweaked or whatever. Because all I do in a webinar is any motherfucking way is the final piece. You feel me? I'm only showing you the lines that we got to draw and what's going to be good. You feel me? And where it's going to be good at. But touching up on those pieces in a moment are, still important to you. But that led me into saying, like, a lot of times as men, we don't rest because we don't prepare ourselves for rest. You feel what I'm saying? And then understanding and looking at the iwi, how that's set up, I'm like, yo, I can rest and they'll be okay. But then it made me look at life from a bigger perspective, from a more grander expression of that. Like, if I would not have had that setup in iwi, you feel what I'm saying, I would have felt guilty. I would have been putting myself through the ringer, beating myself up, like, oh my gosh, what they gonna do? They gonna feel like I'm playing them. They gonna feel like I'm not doing this. And it was like, nah, like, you can rest. And then it just made me look at other things, like, with my ads running and different things like that. It's like, I can rest knowing that things are still in motion. And then it made me understand, like, what is rest? Because a lot of times we often think of rest as nothingness. And it's not the case. And I alluded to it in a previous episode. I don't exactly remember which one, but it was one of the most recent ones where I was saying, when it comes to your nervous system, you have your fight or flight response, you have your rest and digest response, right? Resting is an activity. You know what I'm saying? Resting is something that you intentionally do to switch your nervous system into a state of digestion. And when we're monikered and we're given the titles and the statures of, you're a protector and a provider, you don't get, quote unquote, days off. So in order to actually rest as a man, you have to proactively set up shit to be able to rest. You feel me? And I don't think a lot of us spend enough time doing that. You know, me myself personally, I'm only saying it from the experience of where I am now to where I was before when I started entrepreneurship. I couldn't rest as an entrepreneur before because I had to make sure, like, I was always on it. Like, if I'd rest, shit stops. But then I had to realize, like, rest is different. Rest is not just doing nothing. Rest is actively doing things that regulate your nervous system. Rest is actively doing things that allow you to be in a state of processing and digestion. You feel me? Even just from a physical perspective, like I said, with the nervous system in the human body, you have a rest and digest space. And if your body is not in rest or digest space, you're not resting or digesting. I don't care how long you sleep. I don't care how much you eat, how good you eat. Your body cannot process it. And it started making me wonder because, when I think about protein shakes, I know it's going to seem like I'm all over the place, but I'm not. When I think about protein shakes, when you take a protein shake, you have to take it in, of course, liquid form. So that way it can digest in your small intestine. Protein digests in the large intestine. You feel me? Your full intestinal tract is about 36 feet. You feel what I'm saying? It is the final 36 feet that protein is supposed to digest, but they're forcing us to digest our protein in the small intestine. That's a problem. But it also shows that if how messed up are we wired internally to where we can't digest where we're supposed to digest. And the digestion has to be manipulated to give us what we need. You feel me? And that prompted this episode on a whole because there's so much more to that. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustseen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of the podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. And y'all know the vibes. That's that for this and that's this for that. So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive into So Frail conversations. Rest. And don't forget to visit iamjustseen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit iamjustseen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit iamjustseen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit iamjustseen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit iamjustseen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at iamjustseen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit iamjustseen.com. All right. Welcome back. Ow. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight heavy into this shit. And this is like, and I want to, like I said, I want to continue on with the metaphor for the protein and shit. Like, we have 36 feet of intestine within our bodies. And you can look this up. You can go research it. You feel me? It's known information. All you have to do is find it if you're willing to look for it. The protein that we eat is supposed to digest in our large intestine. One reason that's fucked up, you feel me, is because the way the food structure is and shit like that. Most motherfuckers' large intestine is fucked up. This is why colorectal cancer is so high. But because that's where the protein digests towards the bottom of the intestine, which is the colon, the rectum area, right? So if we're not digesting where we're supposed to be digesting, we have to alter where we digest. But we alter where we digest according to where we're not supposed to be digesting at. You feel me? Protein does not digest in the small intestines. You feel me? Lipids do, which is our fats. You feel me? We're supposed to be taking liquids because from the small intestine, you have a smooth pathway right into the liver and the duodenum. Though the liver, from the duodenum, you have the smooth pathway right into the liver and the gallbladder, right? The gallbladder is designed to emulsify liquids, right? So what that means is emulsification is when you can combine oil and water. So that's where lipids is supposed to be. But we're not even eating or digesting lipids the correct way. We're eating fatty foods that, clog arteries. And so I don't want to talk about the nutrition side, but the nutrition side is necessary for this metaphor because what ends up happening is that we digest the wrong shit in the wrong place. So now, just from this example alone, if we're supposed to be digesting protein in the large intestines, but we have to take protein in a protein shake form and it digests in the small intestine, and the small intestine, towards the top of the small intestine, we're supposed to be digesting lipids, and we're not digesting lipids because we're digesting protein and we're not even getting the right lipids. We see how not digesting the right things the right way can alter and manipulate the entire body, right? So when digestion and rest are tied hand in hand, you feel what I mean? This opens up a different door because now when we look at it from a metaphysical perspective, you know what I'm saying? If we're in a space where we're not digesting and we're not resting properly, or we're not resting well enough to allow our bodies to digest accordingly, what do you think that does to us? You feel what I'm saying? Because we can see how it is on a physical level, but what about the mental and the spiritual levels? What is it to digest and to rest mentally? You feel what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's like we look at like I said, we look at resting as doing nothing. But there comes a paradox in that because when you're doing nothing, somehow your mind, your mind is wired to just do everything. It just runs 100 miles per hour, whatever, because you're still in fight or flight response, right? Intentionally being able to switch your body into a resting state is a skill. It is something that you have to practice. Why? Because for the duration of our life, they taught us how to practice keeping our body in fight or flight response. So much so that we do it by default. But we don't realize that it's easy to turn that on, but we don't realize that it's a possibility to turn the other one on. You feel what I'm saying? Because in fight or flight response, naturally it's your response to whatever. So they teach us, oh yeah, men, you guys are providers. And now look, this ain't to say be a bitch. This ain't to say be soft. This ain't to encourage none of that shit. Resting ain't got shit to do with that shit. This is about knowing how to turn on rest. You see what I'm saying? Yes, it is a switch. You feel what I'm saying? This is why if you actually pay attention to men who get old, and it's not until they stop working or it's not until they kind of retire that they become stroke prone. You feel what I'm saying? The reason why is because they were always stroke prone because they stayed in fight or flight response and kept their nervous system fucked up. They never switched over or knew how to switch over to the rest and digest side on a consistent basis. You see what I'm saying? So they keep us in a fight or flight response. When you're in a state of survival, you're going to stay in this fight or flight response, right? So now we got to deal with shit where, oh, the man ain't making six figures, the man ain't doing shit, blah, 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 all that shit, right? So it comes into our survival is predicated upon certain things. So if your survival is always at the forefront, guess what state of energy you're always in? Your fight or flight response, which means you're not able to rest. And it's not that you're not able to rest. Like you've heard conversations where people will say, like, I need that sleep. Well, I need that sleep where my soul rests. I'm missing that rest of my soul, of my mind. And the reason why all of that is like this is what I was mentioning with the nervous system being the animation of your soul. Like you feel what I'm saying? That's where that is. But it comes in understanding how to turn on your rest and digest phase. This is why I mentioned with spirituality, it means breath. It means breathing. You feel what I'm saying? That's what spirituality means. It means the balance of the breath. Now, the reason why the breath is so important again, because you have the lungs, you have autonomous, and then you have the automatic functions and you have the functions you can control. Right? We don't know how to control our own functions. So we stay in fight or flight response due to the way in which we're taught to be manly. Like really think about it. They teach us, exercise. The way in which they teach us to exercise is to do what? Like get big for one, but what's the bulk of it? To increase your heart rate. Increase your heart rate. This is something that kind of fucked with me, once I started studying it heavily because I'm like, this is wrong. But it makes sense because you can capitalize off of it. Because when a motherfucker can't rest, you now have to put systems. You can now, when a motherfucker can't rest because they're always active, you can now put systems in place to offset that. When I was learning pharmacology in med school and shit, I realized the medicines don't work. The medicines don't do shit but turn signals on and off. And the signals that they turn on and off are derived to suppress something while you're in fight or flight response. You feel me? I was telling somebody like, they were like, I was like, yo, when you get a headache and you take that aspirin, that Advil, whatever, your headache doesn't go away. Your ability to feel it goes away. They're like, no, that's not the same thing. That's why you got to take the shit every 4 to 6 hours. Because for that 4 to 6 hour period, there's going to be something that is on a signal. There's on a nerve signal. Well, not a nerve, but there's a signal that's going to be turned off within your body to say, don't feel the pain in your head. not make the headache go away. So that's why you got to keep taking the shit. So if that's the case, just on that regard, that means that we're not resting or digesting, because the headache, whatever the headache is coming from, means we have not digested something and it's affecting our mind. This could be anything. This could be physical food. This could be mental food. This could be spiritual food. Whatever it is that we have digested or we have ingested, we have not digested properly, which means we're not resting enough to digest it. So we haven't turned that shit on. When I was a kid, you feel me? Whenever I used to have a headache and shit, whenever I'd be like, oh, I don't feel, go take a nap. Sometimes I don't think we understood what our culture was like built for and shit. Like we usually didn't give kids medicine like that. In my culture, I don't know about the other cultures, but I know kids that had bags of pills, bro, of different societies. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with them? They just always sickly, but they had bags of pills. But I would always be told, like, if I had a headache, if I was sick, go take a nap. I'll wait, take a nap and go to sleep, because what happened was I let my body rest. You feel what I'm saying? I let my body rest. Sleep would shift us into sympathetic mode. It's supposed to. However, as we get older, because we stay in fight or flight, like, you ever looked at a kid sleep and motherfuckers, they say this shit and don't realize what they be saying. You be like, they sleep like they ain't got no responsibilities. Sit with that. Which means when you do have responsibilities, you're not sleeping right. You feel what I'm saying? I've heard people, like, there's people I know that can't sleep through the night, right? And they don't know why. They're like, yo, I'm tired, but I can't, because you don't know how to rest. You feel me? You only know how to sleep through fight or flight response. This is why the slightest sound could wake you up, because you were already ready. Your nervous system was already wired to be on edge. But it's not until you have people that can sleep through alarms. You got people that, because they know how, when they sleep, they turn their body into a resting state. You feel what I mean? They turn their body into a whole motherfucking resting state. And that's almost impossible for a lot of people, especially men, because you're taught from day one that you're supposed to be a certain way. So I kind of got off, but I can bring it back here, because the way they teach us to work out, the way they teach us to treat and acknowledge our bodies, is to continually keep our body in fight or flight response. You see what I'm saying? I don't think we understand the stress that's putting on our body when we work out. Now, this is not to discourage working out, but I'm saying when you work out, you also have to shift your body into that resting state in order for the shit to work. You feel me? As somebody who, when I work out, because I was always in a state of, like, growing up where I grew up, I was always in a constant state of fear. I can admit that. But when you are in a constant state of fear, you're always going, fear and survival, you're always going to put yourself in the fight or flight response. Sad part about it, because of where I grew up, I didn't have the luxury of being able to flee. You feel what I mean? And when you don't have the luxury of being able to flee, you learn to fight better. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it goes. Like, we live in a culture where we can't flee. Oh, you a bitch, nigga. You ran, you this, that, and the third. Bitch, I survived. It's like, damn, fuck it. I'd rather take this ass whooping, or risk taking the ass whooping, or delivering the ass whooping, or dealing with the aftermath of getting jumped, getting shot at, all of this shit after, just because I can't flee. So I can't naturally respond to it. Our fight or fight response has a duality. So I naturally can't pick a side of my duality that would keep me from going through all of this bullshit. I just got to absorb it. You feel me? I watch the Animal Planet and shit. And when a zebra or animal, whatever, when it finally gets away from a motherfucking predator, it shakes. These are things that I do now with trauma release exercises, but it shakes, right? It's resting. Again, resting is something that's active. You're digesting the situation. We don't get to those moments where we get to actually rest. We got to keep going, because I got to worry about getting my face back. I got to worry about all this other shit. And I'm saying that largely because, as men, if you are taught to be a protector, this is what I be meaning. I don't be trying to be rude or disrespectful, but everybody's not a warrior. And we demand protection out of motherfuckers that ain't warriors. You can become a warrior, but you can't demand perfection out of motherfucker who ain't built for war. To truly be built for war means that you have to understand that this is a foundational piece that you really got to master and you really got to understand. To truly be built for war means you have to understand your nervous system. Like when they say don't let your emotions control you, this, that, and the third, when your emotions get involved, you stay in fight or flight response. A dangerous motherfucker is the motherfucker who can regulate their nervous system in real time. Imagine being in the middle of a confrontation and I can switch my shit to rest and digest. That means when we square off and we fight, I'm fucking you up. I'm gonna fuck you up for real, because there's no reason, because my mind isn't clouded with the fight or flight response. You feel what I'm saying? When I learned about the fight or flight response and it says, oh, your rest and digest faculty shut down. Oh, niggas don't think clearly. That means so now when I'm raising boys, when we're raising boys and shit, and we're developing them into men, and they're going through the school system or they're going through the education system and they're going through fight or flight response, are they really learning? Are they really able to sit and absorb what they're learning? Mm-mm, not really. And we wonder why, oh, most boys are largely diagnosed with ADHD, not realizing, oh, these little motherfuckers is in fight or flight response and there's nothing to fight or flee from. But why are they like that? Because we're training them like that. Be a boy, be this, that, and the third. They're like, to be a boy. Whew. To be a boy is to be in a perpetual state of fight or flight response. The motherfuckers who ain't in fight or flight response on a regular basis, what do we call them? We call them soft. We call them. This is why I be saying, like, I don't be thinking, like, motherfuckers be thinking they born gay. No, I don't think that. I really personally don't feel that way. I feel like we get called and we get attributed to certain shit, and over time, our personal identity accepts that. But I don't feel like we're born anything, because then if we're gonna say a motherfucker could be born gay, we gotta say a motherfucker could be born a killer. We gotta say they could be born a rapist. We gotta say a lot of the things that we gotta, like, we gotta stop saying what people can be born as, because it's all of our decisions and our choices. But when we look at the rest and digest phase, the motherfucker who won't fight, or the motherfucker who, when it's time to fight, they flee, we give them all kind of characteristics of, you're not a man. Sit with that, y'all. The only thing that we define as a man is a person, being who can continually operate in a state of fight or flight response, but only choosing to fight. Now, this ain't just physical fighting. You feel what I'm saying? Mentally fighting, spiritually fighting. Like, you have to be that motherfucker who's always in a state of fighting. So now, if we're just using these four dynamics, the first two dynamics of sympathetic and parasympathetic mode, and then knowing that you have fight, flight, rest, and digest. As a typical man, a manly man can only use the fight response. That means there's three responses we're not using. We're not fleeing, we're not resting, and we're not digesting. Fast forward to the men who end up having a stroke when they finally stop fighting. Fast forward to the men who get old and now it's like, I can't function like I used to. I gotta keep working. I gotta keep staying in fight mode. Mike Tyson is one of the perfect examples of this situation right now, because it's like he knew that he was born to fight, and it's like now he feels like, I ain't gonna say this is what he feel like. Don't pull up on me, Mike. Don't pull up on me, Unc. For real, for real. But I heard you say something like this, so I'm gonna paraphrase it. He said it feels like when he's not fighting or whatever the case, but now he has no purpose, he's not doing anything. He just feels like less of a man. And I could be fucking up what he's saying. But you feel me? Don't pull up on me, Uncle Mike. For real. Don't do that shit. But nah, when you are in that space, he's a perfect example of that. He'll tell you he was built for war. What does that mean as a boy being built for war? That means you were always in a fight response, never being able to flee. This man was unable to operate from three of his other perspectives. It was like, yo, why he always on go? Why he always ready to turn? Why he always feel threatened? It's like a lot of times what they call toxic masculinity. Ooh, we are downloading today. A lot of the shit that they call toxic masculinity ain't toxic masculinity at all. It's men stuck in fight response. So now when you sit with a boy and you're like, yo, you got to calm down. You toxic, this, that, and the third. Nah, who defines what a man is? Who defines what a man is? That's the polarities, bro. Sympathetic mode is masculine. It's action oriented. Parasympathetic mode is feminine. It's inactivity. It's inaction. It's not inactivity. It's inaction oriented. I'm gonna say it like that. So when we look at why are women calm, this is like women have the ability to digest better than men do. Now I know, niggas gonna be like, well, how can women get fat when they let themselves go and this, that, and the third and all of the other shit? Because they have more time to rest and digest. We can eat and all of the other shit and keep our metabolism because we stay in fight mode. Our bodies don't digest it anyway. When they are protected and they stay in rest mode, that's what it is. So there's that balance of learning how to turn shit on and learning how to turn shit off. The way in which they created the duality is that women naturally keep theirs turned off. This is why after the babies come and all this other shit, they blow the fuck up. You feel me? But that's not what we talk about. We're not talking about the women. We talk about the men, and we talking about the boys as we develop from the fight or flight response. Most of the shit ain't toxic. It's we're in a fight response all the time. And we have to prove that we're always willing to be in the fight response. So you're spending your first foundational years of life trying to prove that you a big man, trying to prove that you this, that, and the third. You got to walk in daddy's shoes. You got to walk in a state of fight response. I don't want to be a coward. I don't want to be a punk. I don't want to be this. There's a lot of shit, a lot of words that you hear as a kid that makes you keep your fight response on. A lot of stupid shit you'll do because your fight response is on. And do you know that your fight response is on? No, because you think it's just being a boy. Oh, go play football. Go run. Go do this, that, and the third. Keep your fight response on. I never forget when I was 12 or 13, I had a teacher. I was 13 because it was when I was getting ready to go to high school. So I was in 8th grade. So I had a teacher. He was my 7th grade teacher, but then he went over to the high school. He said, yo, when you come here, I want you to play football. For fucking what? Because you got too much anger. So if you don't transmute that anger somehow, you're going to do something else with it. When they tell us shit like, when you in this life, this gang banging life and shit, I wasn't a gang banger, but I was around gangsters. But when you in this life and you're in a fight response, that's why they say you're either going to end up dead or in jail. So the school to prison pipeline is easy to build. We be thinking this, they fail in the education system, 3rd grade test scores. We know that by the 3rd grade, you're not even going to be attentive enough to learn because you can't digest it, because we have already programmed you that a boy is supposed to remain in fight response, but you don't know that it's fight response that you're remaining in. You just think it's being a big boy. You just think it is being tough. You just think it's being all of these different things. If you look at how when we get hurt, traumatized, or whatever the case may be, and we want to cry, you know that's the form of rest and digest, right? Because in order to release, you have to first digest and process what you're releasing. After you digest your food, what you do? You shit. You release. After you drink whichever you drink, what you do? You go piss. You go pee. Let me say that because some motherfuckers don't like the word piss. You go pee and you urinate. You defecate and you urinate. I can say it however you want it to be said, but you release after you digest. When we are in a space where shit fucks us up and we can't cry, guess what we're not doing? We're not releasing. And if we're not releasing, what does that mean? We're not digesting properly. Yeah, it's getting heavy today. We're not digesting properly, homie. So then when it's time to digest, it has to digest it at once, and it gives us what? An explosion, because you're in a fight or flight response and all your digestion happens at one time. Why did he snap? He's soft. He emotional. Look at him getting emotional. How you do all that shit? Because, bitch, I'm in fight or flight response and it's time for me to digest and I can't. You ever notice how after you cry, you feel empty? This is what I be saying. You got to let our boys cry, because crying is the release from the soul, the release of burdens from the soul. If I'm being told you can't cry, you cannot. When you're told that you can't cry, you're being told that you cannot release what you just digested negatively. I'm never discouraged from laughing. This is why you hear me say crying and laughter are the releases of the soul. You feel me? Crying releases our burdens, and laughter releases our, I would say, joys, whatever the opposite of burdens. Crying releases the pain. Laughter releases the joy. You feel me? They're pretty much one and the same, but they're both responses to digestion. You feel what I'm saying? Even when you can laugh so hard that you cry, but you can also cry so hard you laugh. And they be like, you a crazy motherfucker if you cry so hard you laugh. The two go hand in hand, because it's both releases from the soul. But if you're not crying, if you're not releasing from the soul, most motherfuckers that don't cry, they don't smile either. They laugh when shit is super funny, but they don't smile either. As a reformed hood nigga, I could tell you, you don't smile. We ain't smiling pictures. We will flip the camera off and shit. Like, that's what you do, because you got to make sure you stay in fight or flight response. Or niggas gonna think you soft. If you crack a smile, they gonna think you soft. By the time I got to high school, about 11th, 12th grade, I was smiling so much. Like I learned to smile so much that one of the girls that I was rocking with, she used to call me Smiley and shit. But I was smiling that much, and it was like, yo, but when I turned it on, and it's like, yo, I ain't know he got like that, bro. It's like, yeah, once it came on, it came on. But I ain't know that I knew how to turn my fight or flight response on and off yet, but I knew something was different. Like when I wanted to be calm, I was calm. But when I wanted to be turned, I was turned. Like it was that serious. But as I grew and as I progressed, I stopped smiling. But in a way, I realized I wasn't really releasing. I wasn't really releasing. And when I look at how us as boys, like, it'd be crazy because women will say, when was the last time you cried? I hate when women ask that dumbass question because they're not asking it from the perspective of truly understanding release. They're asking it from, are you in touch with your side and you're emotional? I literally saw this motherfucking video and this shit hurt me because the bull, they asked dudes, they was like, when was the last time you cried? And they was asking them, see if you in touch with your emotions. And dude just lost his best friend. That was his brother. And he started crying. They ranked him as the bottom. Like, they was like, yo, but he cried. Bitch, you just asked him, when was the last time he cried? And he said, I cried because my best homie, my best friend, he died. Now we can't even cry for that. But it's even deeper than that. If we're not crying, that means mentally. This is where I was getting at with that. If we're not crying, we're not laughing, we're not doing these things, specifically crying, that means we're mentally shutting down the digestion. We're spiritually shutting down the digestion. Do y'all know what it feels like? A lot of y'all do, but when you feel that energy coming and you know you about to cry, you do everything you can not to make it happen. So what does that do? That means instantly in that moment, your spirit, your mind, your body is literally trying to digest what it is that you are consuming that's making you cry, and you're denying the digestion. You'll look up, you'll flap your eyes and shit. I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. We've gooded ourselves into shutting down our parasympathetic system. When we get angry, when we get upset, when we feel any feeling, because we know the mind is divided into what? Emotions and thoughts. You see what I'm saying? What do we do when we get overwhelmed with emotion? I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go do this, that, and the third. We go to shift our sympathetic mode on. We go put ourselves in a fighter's response. We go put ourselves in this energy. Women be thinking, ooh, I'm tired of being in my masculine. Well, stop doing masculine shit. They've encouraged women to go to the gym. They've encouraged women to work out like men, not like women. Women, oh, I'm about to go hit this 450 and this, that, and the third. Yeah, I can tell you're masculine, but not in the sense that why do they think? Why do I think you don't think? Men don't think. We're in a fight or fight fucking response. We're action and reaction. That's it. There's no thought process. And now women go and do the same shit. We don't even know that this is what we're talking about. I don't want a masculine woman. Women, I'm tired of being in my masculine, but we keep doing the same shit that keeps us in sympathetic mode, which is the masculine state. Shit crazy, bro. Shit crazy. But we do the shit to keep us in the masculine state. We go work out. Women work out the same way men work out, and your bodies aren't even designed the same way. Men will encourage women to go hit the gym. Only woman that can rack and she could do shit like this and pick up for me and do all this other shit. Now realizing what it's actually doing. When you push your body to extremes that way, you're telling your body to remain in fight response. This is why you can have those, like, niggas don't really need pre-work. Like, when they tell you, oh yeah, you know that your fight or flight response has reached such a critical level that you need a pre-workout to motivate yourself. Think about that. You need something to prep you to go fight. Sit with that. Please fucking sit with that. Our sympathetic modes are wired so high that we now need pre-work. Now, here's where the business side of the shit comes in, because they never create a product without a reason to keep that bitch in motion. Do we know what they're using to keep in motion? We just know we got pre-workouts. Yeah, my pre-workout got me turned. Your fight or flight response is so high that you need something to give you a higher... Your fight or flight response is so high that you need something to increase your fight or flight response for you to work out. The fight or flight response is pre-workout. You feel what I'm saying? The adrenaline you feel when your adrenaline is already maxed out at its capacity because you stay in this space, that's crazy. It's fucking crazy. But we don't even know what the fuck is happening to us because we don't know how to rest. We just know how to get active. We know how to be active. We know how to stay volatile. You see what I'm saying? I don't think we ever really put this shit into perspective because a lot of motherfuckers don't talk about it. You know why? Because motherfuckers don't know. And the motherfuckers who do know that they can't capitalize anymore once it's out. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy as fuck. You stay in a fight or flight response and you can't do shit. So back to when it's, oh, your emotions are triggered. Like your emotions and thoughts go hand in hand. You can't think without feeling. You can't feel without thinking. That's how the mind works. You feel what I'm saying? But the moment we feel something, we don't digest it. We shut it down. So what do you think that does to our thoughts? What do you think that does to your thoughts? It taints them. Your thoughts are completely the fuck off. Again, why don't men think? We can't think because we got to shut down our emotional faculties. If we got to shut down our emotional faculties, we can't process. We can't possibly process a thought. We just learn to act. We just learn to react. That's it. We don't learn to digest. We don't learn to rest and actually deal with what the fuck is facing us. So we just go in, I'm going to dilute this shit. Not dilute it. I'm going to diffuse it. How do you diffuse it? I'm going to go hit the gym. I'm going to go run. This is my therapy. No, nigga, therapy is therapy. Real shit. The purpose of therapy is to release. Why should you be releasing? The therapist, what they're not teaching you about is, and this is, again, they have shit in place because they understand the system. This is a system, y'all. I understand that you're not going to voluntarily learn how to release your shit. You don't know how to switch your body into sympathetic mode, into parasympathetic mode to rest and digest this shit. So I'm going to sit down with a therapist. You're going to talk and I'm going to let you talk it out. You're not going to get any solutions that are really going to tell you anything. They're going to give you the solutions to keep you medicated and coming back. Oh, you're bipolar. You're to this, that, and the third. You'd be bipolar too if you stayed in a fight or flight response all the time. And the moment when you feel like, okay, I can calm down and be in this, nope, I can't. Nope, I can't. Everything about my life, everything that I do puts me in a fight or flight response. So when I no longer feel the need to fight, something triggers me to fight. Are you really bipolar? You really all fucked up like that? Now don't get me wrong. These shits are real. The symptoms and the naming of the symptom is real, but the source is all the same. It's all going to come back to your nervous system. It's all going to come back to your nervous system. How do I know this shit? Because again, when I was in med school and we were going over pharmacology, this shit don't stop shit. It turns off receptors and signals within your body. And all of the shit is triggered by your nervous system. Your nervous system elicits the response that makes your body release certain things. This is why they tell you, what kind of headache do you have? Is it in the front? Is it in the back? Is it on the side? Is it behind your eye? Why? Because what nerves are affected by this fucking headache? Oh, you got a tension headache at the base of your neck. Where's that sitting at? Between specific nerves. Oh, I have a migraine that's compounded my whole. Oh, that's all your cranial nerves are being overstimulated at one time. Wow. Oh, it's only on the left side. Oh, it's behind your eye. You got that headache behind your eye. Oh, so my optic nerve is being fucked up. They're not going to tell you that part. So what we're going to do is give you the medicine to shut down the signal, to stop the signal that is sending the pain there. This is why you got to go to sleep afterwards. This is why you got to do all of this other sick shit, because you don't know how to turn the shit off. I know, saying, well, when the fuck you going to tell us to turn it off? In a second. I got to let you know what the fuck you're in. And again, these are things that I had to come to terms with, because a lot of times when you get so used to being in fight or flight response and you can't flee and all you do is fight, you don't know how to have peace. Now, when we look at a relationships template, I don't know about other people because I only fuck with who I fuck with, but I look at a template that we have within our people and we can't get along. When something's going right, when everything is peaceful, when we are able to rest, we got to start some shit. Because we only feel normal when we fighting. We only feel normal in fight or flight response because as Black people, we live in a perpetual state where our sympathetic mode is always active. So when I'm in a space where my sympathetic mode is not active, something's wrong, as opposed to seeing something's right. Because we think normalcy is normal. It's not. Constantly being in a space where you always have to be in fight mode. And then you get into a space where you no longer have to be, you start feeling weird. This is not just relationship, this is life as whole. As Black men, we have those moments when we sitting down doing nothing. It's like, yo, I could be doing more. Why? Why do you feel like you could be doing more? Rephrase that. Understanding that you are in a sympathetic mode at all times, start asking yourself, start saying this shit. The moment you feel like you could be doing more, replace doing more with fighting. I could be fighting right now. Sounds stupid, don't it? It sounds crazy as fuck to say that shit. When you're sitting down chilling, you're like, I could be fighting right now. Because that's what you're telling yourself. Semantics aside, that's what you're telling yourself. I should be in a sympathetic mode and I should be in my fight response right now. So much so that you know that you really got it. You know that your shit is really on point and it's high when you're sitting down doing nothing and you start tapping your leg. When you start tapping your leg just for nothing. You don't even know what the fuck you're tapping your leg for. And it's like, I'm anxious. Are you anxious? Or are you ready to fight? So now when they tell you, oh, I got anxiety. Oh, you're always about to fight. You always feel like a fight is coming because you're always in fight or flight response because you don't know how to turn that shit off. In addition to that, your knees tap when you're chilling. Right now, are your shoulders up? Are they tense? Drop them. Is your tongue at the top of your mouth? Fight or flight response. Is your face scrunched up? Fight or flight response. Smile, motherfucker. You feel me? You feel me? These are all things that I had to come to terms with over the course of my life to realize, damn, bro, I've been trying to fight. I've been ready to fight all my life. And no fights. And the crazy part is you prepare yourself for fighting all the time and no fight comes. I say within my life, I've probably been in a good 15, 16 fights, maybe. Some shit like that. But now that's all as a teenager and shit. Teenager age. Like I don't think I had any adult fights. Yeah. Cause it changes at that point. You feel me? I think my last fight I had to be like 16 to 17. Maybe. But after that, I didn't fight no more. I almost fought in undergrad, but then it was just like in that moment, I realized that you have motherfuckers that are in fight or flight response and motherfuckers that are in the rest of digest response. And when that fight or flight response kicked in, you could see the fear in them. I don't fight motherfuckers I never fought motherfuckers who didn't have their fight or flight response turned on all the time. But I didn't know that niggas had their fight or flight response on it. We just think the motherfucker G or he a real nigga. He always ready to fight. He bout it at any time. Like, nah, I was that motherfucker. Like, if you told me, walked up to me on some, yo, I want to fight, pat, 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 pat. What you hit me for, nigga? Hey, you said you asked me that I want to fight. So I figured it was already a threat, bro. I ain't got time to be playing with the bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? I ain't got time to be playing with the bullshit. So now when you are in that perpetual state of motion all the fucking time, what do you think it does to you? You can't even enjoy yourself. Like when you eat food, like they even program us to eat fast. Like the shit, when you can, like they teach us to consume quickly and we can't. This is why motherfuckers' attention spans is short. They gone because motherfuckers is in fight or flight response. What they just did with COVID, what they just did with they did the same shit with the Spanish flu, but what they really just did, they sent everybody in a sympathetic mode. We be thinking motherfuckers, oh, I was in survival mode. They scared us. They shut shit down. Nah, they shifted your nervous system into fight or flight response and you can't flee nowhere. When I tell people you got to understand how your religion works, you got to understand how your society works. You have to understand how your system works and why it was given to you. You'll understand when you understand the nervous systems. Spirituality is balance. Spirit means the breath. The breath is the centerpiece of the being. When the being is not in control of their breathing, they are in sympathetic mode. When the being is in control of their breathing, they are in parasympathetic mode. I'm going to take you out of control of your system by putting you in fight or flight response, and you can't run nowhere. What do? You either get down or you lay down. You have to depend on me because I never prepared you for what to do with this fight. This is one of the reasons why when people were coming to me and saying, should I get there were so many people during the vaccine time and the Rona time. I said, y'all, they're going to weather the storm. And I'm telling people, you're not a doctor. You're not this, that, and the third. This is how you had to fight me because you had not digested any of the shit that I consumed. And they made sure that you didn't digest any of the shit that they made sure that you did not consume anything that you could digest to keep you out of the fight or flight response when it happened. Now, as men, you protecting and you providing. I seen this dude, he lost his shit because he made his son get the shot and it killed him. We're not going to say he died of the shot because, they're not going to say that shit. But after he got the shot, he died. Nobody wants to talk about that shit now because it's like, damn, bro, I'm not in this fight or flight response. Like, how do I fight this? So when I started putting people on herbs, started getting like motherfuckers like, yo, how did you weather it without catching? You didn't get sick. Cause nigga, I had already rested and digested a long time ago to learn this shit. So when the fight or flight response, I didn't have a reason to fight. You see what I'm saying? There was no fight for me. This is not a fight. Like, you ever looked at a motherfucker and you like, yo, this ain't a fit. I'm not fighting. I will beat your ass, but I'm not fighting. You feel me? When you have rested and digested properly, you can determine when it's time to fight. When you are unable and incapable of determining when it's time to fight, and something can dictate your fighting, they control you forever. Right now, jobs are getting cut like a motherfucker. As a man, you're a protector and provider. You got a family under you. What's going through your mind is what's going to happen? Because now my lady can leave me. All of these different things can happen, and now I got to go in a fight mode. So I got to do everything I can not to be on the wrong side of this shit. This is not an accident, homie. Everything that's going on at this particular time is not an accident. They're making AI and making it easy for AI to come in. Now, the people that have not done anything, they've gone to school, got the good education, they only had one fight. They never digested much. So now they can't pivot against AI. AI still needs somebody to control it. But they didn't prepare you to control AI. They prepared you to be controlled by it. And they did it because through the duration of our lives, we've been stuck in fight or flight response. Since you were a boy, since you was a little boy, be a man, be a big boy. I forgot, I don't know what episode, maybe this was an episode or maybe I put it in one of the books, but I was mentioning how a boy doesn't have an opportunity to be at the level he's at. You feel me? When you are actually a toddler, you got to be a big boy. You can't be a toddler, nigga. Grow the fuck up. The fuck? Don't cry. Like, you feel me? Don't look at him. He gonna cry, whatever the case may be. Don't get frustrated. You ain't there's so many things you can't do. Like, when your fight or flight response gets triggered, nobody tells you how to turn it off. They just tell you to ignore it. You see what I'm saying? When you're the child, when you're a toddler, you got to be the big boy. When you become the big boy, you got to be the young man. When you're the young man, you got to be the man. When you're the man, you got to be you never get to be at the level you're supposed to be because you don't sit enough with yourself to be able to learn and master the necessary things that you need. Like, the greatest lesson that you have to learn in this life is how to balance your nervous system. All of this shit in life that we go through is to bring us back to the centerpiece in order to balance our nervous system out. They're not going to teach you that. Why? Because then I can't capitalize on you anymore. I capitalize on a reality that humans are stuck in fight or flight response and they can't run nowhere. That's fucking genius. I'm not mad at it. Like, nigga, you literally decided to control the whole world like this. Now, you're not going to appeal to a higher power because I gave you the higher power. And when you appeal to the higher power, you can only appeal to it to the capacity I tell you to. So when that's like, oh, a sickness is coming. This is the last days of the last days. When you're thinking something is the last days of the last days all your life, for generations on end, when your people collectively think that every generation, y'all ain't fighting shit. Y'all ain't fighting shit. Therefore, you're going to be in a space of fleeing, but you're still going to be in sympathetic mode. Then what do you do when you flee and you can't flee and you won't fight? You become what you become. It sucks because being a man is hard. I had to break the tension a little bit. But nah, being a man is hard because you always have to consider like you don't you've been it so long you don't realize that I've been fighting, I've been waiting for a fight that's never gonna come. You feel me? And then you got to think about what happens when a fight comes. You have to fight with everything in you. Even as a kid, when you got into the scrap outs in school and they surround the circle gets closed, and then you got to worry about the homies jumping in and shit, it get rough. Because now you got to fight harder. Now you got to fight relentlessly. I cannot lose. People don't realize how animalistic that is. I'm not calling this animals, but I'm just saying when you are in a space of fight or flight response, you can't flee and all you can do is fight and you have to win. Nobody know. A lot of people don't know what it's like to have to win. Hey, bro, for real though, at some point we gotta stop talking to women about masculinity and start talking to each other about it. And I mean really talk to each other. Not as enablers and co-signers, but as men trying to reach the pinnacle of our essence. And that's what the So Frail series does. So Frail 1 is the definition. So Frail 2 is the acknowledgement. And So Frail 3 is the resolution. If you rock with the So Frail conversations, I can guarantee you will rock with the So Frail series of books. So visit IamJustSing.com right now so you can add the series to your library. I promise you will never look at masculinity the same again, and you're going to stop wasting your time arguing with women about it. This is a conversation that men need to have between men, and it's time we start having this conversation now. To have to win. This is why, like, no funny shit, but this is why you seeing the way things are playing out, right? The people that are the transgender women are mainly what kind of men? You feel me? Sit with that. The transgender women are mainly what kind of men? I'm not talking about just race. I'm not talking about just look at the typical transgender man transgender woman who wants to compete in sports. Who are they? Losers. Motherfuckers who in their fight or flight response couldn't fight. So now I'm going to use my fight or flight response against a vessel whose fight or flight response can't compete with mine, who can't match mine. And I'm going to cry about it. I'm going to cry when I can't go compete, as opposed to using my fight or flight response to get better, because you can't. There's a gap. There's a gap in which you can't compete anymore. You feel what I'm saying? Imagine this. A lot of these motherfuckers, when they finally ban steroids and shit, you can't play steroids. So it's like, I'm going to change genders because I can't take steroids. Because I think about what steroids do. They increase the fight or flight response. You feel me? You ever been in the gym and you angry, you heated, you hit more weight than you've ever hit before? You can't figure out why, because your nervous system is wired to that. But rather than digesting it, you're releasing through the fight or flight response. And it's a paradox, because this is why you get big so fast, because you're not releasing, you're absorbing into your nervous system. They're not going to teach you that part. So you ask me, how did I learn this shit? How do I know this shit? This is what the muscle ringing teaches you. When I started learning muscle ringing and I started switching it from the other side, this is how I get more fluid in it. You feel me? Will I still hit weights? Nah, not really, because respectfully, I've already stored enough trauma in my life to not need to hit another weight. You feel me? Because it all goes somewhere. So now I use the trauma that I stored, and it's like the whole left side of my body is far weaker than the right side of my body. And I used to think it's because, I'm right-handed, this, that, and the third. No, because that's where my trauma is being stored. That's where most of my trauma was always stored. And as the trauma kept compounding and shit, because what's on your left side? Your fucking heart. And we wonder why motherfuckers have strokes. And when you have a stroke, what shuts down? Your fucking left side. Why? Because they say your heart is tied to your emotions. It's tied to your feelings. Your brain is where your thoughts are. Your heart is where your emotions lie. But the mind is those two things combined. So when I'm in fight or flight response and I'm never addressing my emotions, you wonder why your left side starts shutting down first. Oh, we had a stroke. How does every stroke happen on the left side? You feel me? It can only come from one of two things. One, all of your trauma is stored on your left side, or it's related to your heart, which means that it's connected to your emotions, which means it's related to your inability to digest and process, to rest and digest. We're not digesting our emotions and our feelings, homie. Why do men live 10 years younger why do women live 10 years longer than men? Because, nigga, in previous times, They didn't have the fight or flight responses we had. They literally can stay home and rest and digest all day, but they ain't had shit to do. They were boring. They didn't have any creativity. They didn't have any ideas. They didn't have any specialties to do anything. So that was fucking the milkman. I said it for dramatic effect to, make shit pop. But as we got older, women, I'm tired. You're not tired of being like a man because you still want to fight. You still want to be in, I'm ready for my soft girl era. I'm ready for this, that, and the third. You're ready to shift your shit into sympathetic and parasympathetic mode and calm the fuck down. Everybody wants rest. They literally just said they're going to up the retirement age. To what? Nigga, death? Nigga, are you serious? Because they said we're going to up it to what life expectancy should be. Wow. Okay, nigga. Okay, so now you got this being in fight or flight response forever because they're like, we're creating better medicines, we're creating better technologies, we're getting, with the right technology, they'll get stronger, faster. No, you just live longer because we're going to learn how to offset your body while it's in fight or flight response for a longer duration of time. You feel what I'm saying? As men, you got to prepare for that. As men, we've been built for that all of our lives. You feel what I'm saying? We've been built for that all of our lives since we were little boys. You feel me? So the point that I was making with that was, imagine this, I kind of got off, but from the schoolyard fights to all of that shit, and it's like, you have to win. Like nobody knows the significance of that. Like niggas be like, yo, how do you lose? And this, that, and the third. Like a loss is hard when you in fight or flight response and you can't flee. I have to win this fight. And every moment of my life is a fight. I have to win. They be thinking men are obsessive with shit. Oh, that they call it narcissistic. They call it being a perfectionist. No, that's called surviving with your fight or flight response on. Nigga, if you are in nature, you see Simba and Scar getting down. You feel me? One of them niggas got to win. They not just fighting for, nigga, let me see where your hand's at. No, nigga, one of us got to win. There is no, I'll be okay if I lose or I can take a loss. No, I have to win this. The first rule of nature is self-preservation. When the fight or flight response kicks in, self-preservation is at the forefront. I have to win. I shouldn't win. I'm not going to be okay. Like as humans, you can take that loss. I can take a loss, but I have to win. I have to. Nigga, it ain't life or death. It is. That's what survival mode is. That's why your fight or flight response kicked in the first fucking place. I have to win. That's crazy. That's crazy because they program us to have to win since we're boys. Now, I'm not saying be a competitor. Don't be a competitor. Competition is healthy. It's cool. It develops you. But competition without processing, you feel me? Active competition without resting and digesting, you're not going to be any good. You see what I mean? You're not going to be any good. You're constantly fighting. You're constantly fighting. You get to a point where when you look at the gladiators, when you look at the champions, look at the gladiators of our time. Jordan being able to play through the flu game. He didn't have the flu, but it sounded better. He played with food poisoning. But still, Jordan being able to play through the flu. Kobe walking off the court with an Achilles tear. These are people whose fight or flight response has exceeded a certain point to where it's normal. To where I don't have to think I can react. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, it's on some Ultra Instinct type shit. But literally, you're in a space where you have reached that fight or flight response and you can't flee. So in a state of battle, you don't even have to think anymore. Nothing could stop you. Like when people be like, yo, when you played with Jordan, all he had to do was look. Like there's people with that instinct. They call it the killer instinct. That's fight or flight response at its maximum. And they program us as men to strive to have that every day. Now, I'm not saying don't have that killer instinct. Have it. But have the ability to digest and rest too. You feel what I'm saying? Turn that shit the fuck off. Like sit and turn that shit off. It wasn't until I learned how to meditate. Now we're going to get into the digestion. I just had to be dramatic and set the tone for resting. When I first learned how to meditate, that's when my life changed forever. Now, a lot of people be like, yo, when I meditate, I get sleepy. When I meditate, cuz, nigga, that's the first sign that you're doing it right. A lot of us shut it down. When we start meditating and we get into that space, because what you do is when you breathe deeply, in fight or flight response, you breathe into your chest. You're not getting enough oxygen into your body like that. With rest or digest, in sympathetic mode, when you breathe into your diaphragm and you expand your stomach out, now you're triggering your vagus nerve. When you're triggering your vagus nerve, that calms everything else down. Because you're taking the focus off of the nerves externally, your hands, your feet, and all of this other shit, and you're bringing it back into the core. You feel me? The core. Even our core, they teach us how to fuck up. All we do is sit-ups. We do sit-ups, crunches. Like, we do everything to contract our bodies. Like, look at the way your workouts are. It's to flex and extend. Never, ever to expand and rotate. Rest and digestion are expansion and rotation, right? I can get into it now because we're not talking about this. Rest and digest are where you expand and rotate your body. Fight or flight is when you extend and you contract and extend your body, right? When you are in a space where your body becomes rigid through contraction and extension only, you don't have the fluidity. Fluidity comes from resting and digestion. Only rigidity comes from fight or flight. You dig what I'm saying? Most of us, we stay in rigidity and we don't know how to get into fluidity. That's where the expansion and the rotation comes in your body. I know some people are like, yo, I've never had, expand your muscles. How do you do that? Like take a moment to actually ask yourself and sit with, have you ever expanded your muscles? Now, extension is just contraction. That's it. It's they call it extension, but you're contracting the other way. When you do a crunch, you contract your abs and you release. You contract your abs a little bit and you extend your back. On the other side of that, when you contract your back, you extend your abs. Same shit, ultimately. But how are you expanding them? Right? Are you pushing your muscles from the inside out? So when I talk about muscle ringing, this is why I say muscle ringing. So when I talk about muscle ringing, I'm saying you invigorate your nerves and expand your muscles out. And then you twist and rotate around the joints. I don't focus on muscles anymore. I focus on my joints. Because that now puts me in a space where now when my whole muscular system is now invigorated at one time and I'm twisting it and I'm moving it around and I'm getting the movements in, now I'm resting. Resting is an activity. It is an action, right? And this is what I'm saying is because now when you know that this side of your body is moved to be expansive and rotational, that's how you start resting. Pay attention to how when you wake up in the morning and you do that good ass fucking stretch and it seems like your whole body goes into that star galaxy space and shit. What do? You start twisting and turning and doing all this shit. You expand your body and you rotate it. When you yawn and you got to do that stretch where you extend fully and you start twisting and turning because your body doesn't do it on a regular basis. But it goes back into how we decide to rest and digest. So when I first learned how to meditate, that's when I started to realize, yo, I got to calm my vagus nerve. I got to calm my nerves by breathing down into my diaphragm. The moment I learned to the moment I finally learned how to meditate and started doing it, I was like, yo, people be like, once you meditate, you get downloads and you start waking up and you start getting smarter. They're not telling you why. Because for the first time, you're digesting shit. This is shit that you understood and you learned years ago. You just never had a moment to sit with it long enough for it to digest. You knew you had this information. You'd be thinking, oh, a deity or whatever. This is how they can play it. A deity is now what's giving you this information. This is information you already learned a long time ago. You just forgot it because you was in fight mode. And now as you sitting down breathing, you're calming your nervous system down to allow digestion to happen. So when you breathe down into your diaphragm. This is why when people be like, yo, I don't meditate because as soon as I meditate, I get sleepy because you're not used to rest. You're not used to rest. Your body is now going through something that it doesn't do. You meditate enough, you'll get used to it. You get used to breathing down into your diaphragm, relaxing your body. You literally cannot do both. The moment you start doing diaphragmatic breathing and you expand your stomach and you breathe all the way down into your stomach, everything starts to release naturally. And now you feel like I can't sit still. You start feeling jittery at first. I can't sit still. Because, motherfucker, you've always been active. Your body is now having permission to calm the fuck down. You feel what I'm saying? We got to understand the difference between relaxation and calming down and turning and stopping the fight. You see what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers like, yo, calm down, stop being act. Like there's a difference between being inactive and actually calming down. You feel me? So now when we go into these spaces and we're not resting properly, what does that do for us? It puts us in a world in a little clusterfuck. It puts us in a clusterfuck because at what point do we finally learn how to adjust ourselves? When people say shit like, and this is something that I learned, this is really what helped me quit smoking too. I'm explaining it because it's gonna make so much sense when it finally. In order to stop it, you have to understand why you do it. And because oh, you're addicted to nicotine, this, that, and the third. It's deeper than that. It was always deeper than that. And I couldn't figure out what it was until I started to sit back and was like, oh, I'm not addicted to the motherfucking nicotine or the smoke. I'm addicted to the deep breath. Any motherfucker who smokes, when they stressed out, when they blowing this like that, they hit that shit and they breathe deeply. I know because I do the shit. You feel me? When I was smoking weed, when I was smoking cigars, whenever I would smoke, I would be like, yo, I'm stressed, I'm mad and shit down the third. I gave myself something to put into my hands to be addicted to, but I was never addicted to the nicotine. I was never addicted to the chemicals in the bitch. The chemicals in the bitch are now used to affect my body, but it's affecting my body based off of the inhale. Because you hit the motherfucker so hard that you drag it all the way down. That's the closest thing. When you smoking, you think it's relieving your stress, but that's the closest thing that you're getting to breathing into your diaphragm and don't know it. To shifting your body into sympathetic and parasympathetic mode. I know it was a mind fuck. It was like, bruh, that's crazy, but it's not because they know that. This is why you inhale the shit. Now, motherfuckers that do snuff and shit, like that's a whole different dynamic. There's still additives and addictive shit in that. But it's worse when you smoke because of what it's affecting your vagus nerve and your nervous system. Because you're now not shifting your body. You're now shifting your body into the rest of digest state, but you're attributing it to the smoke. You're not attributing it to your own power, to your own ability to say, stop, breathe. That's why they say when you breathe, count to 10 and take deep breaths. They've been teaching us that since we was kids, but we ain't know what the fuck they was doing. Tell me why. I can't tell you why. I'm just telling you that this is how you calm down. Count to 10 and breathe down. Take a deep breath. Now, when I'm angry, my deep breath still going to my chest. My nose flares up. I know because this is how I used to breathe and shit. I'm not breathing into my stomach. It's just making me madder. Like niggas be like, yo, breathe, nigga, and you breathing into your motherfucking chest and it's making you madder. You don't get it. Like, you don't understand it because it's like, oh, no, don't turn off your nervous system, motherfucker. Just give the illusion like you're turning that shit off. Breathe, breathe. And when you breathe down into your diaphragm, your body, it's almost like a shock treatment. Your body says, bitch, calm your ass down, nigga. The fuck? Like, what the fuck is you breathing heavy for? Like, calm down. Get out of that sympathetic mode. Come back to rest to digest. Instantly, your whole demeanor changes. You feel me? And the reason why your whole demeanor changes is because now you're moving with a different side of your nervous system, parasympathetic mode. When we watch babies and we watch them sleep, watch what their stomach does. Watch what their stomach does. Now, as you get older and you watch people sleep, watch what their chest does. Stomachs don't move no more. You breathe straight into your chest. You don't breathe into your diaphragm no more. So we're born and we innately know we're wired to sleep the right way. But we have to be programmed into sleeping the wrong way. You feel what I'm saying? So motherfuckers be like, yo, why can't I dream? You don't have dreams anymore because you don't sleep in rest or digest space. That's what a dream is. You're digesting shit. You're digesting a lot of the shit that you learn. Now, when the digestion gets too overwhelming, it's like, all right, nigga, here go the dream because you got to have this motherfucker. because you're not digesting your thoughts. Motherfucker be like, yo, my memory's bad. No, your memory isn't bad. You're in fight or flight response. And so therefore you don't retain any information because you don't know how to rest. You don't know how to motherfucking rest. And this is the motherfucker like I said, when I first started meditating, I learned when I was in med school. And it was crazy because it's just like, yo, when I finally learned how to meditate, I saw the jig for everything. And I was like, nigga, I knew, and I knew it was some bullshit, but fuck it. I had learned and absorbed so much information that the meditation was just like, boom. It would be like, I'll be meditating, and then I get a cool ass thought. And I'll be like, damn. And I go down a rabbit hole, but I'm like, when did I learn that? When the fuck did I learn that? But then it was always there. You don't miss anything that you observe in fight or flight response. You know it. You learn it. You feel what I'm saying? But the problem is because you don't go and rest or digest response, you don't observe it. So like I said, tying it into the workouts. When we work out, after we work out, they, go stretch. Imagine what they do when they teach you to stretch. Either contract or extend. That's it. You do all of that workout and then you go stretch the same way you worked out. Don't even get it. Because they don't teach us about the different planes of our body. So this is why I started muscle ringing. Like I said, only work around my joints. Motherfuckers don't pop no more. But they started popping more. The more stronger I got, the more my muscles contracted. But I was like, these niggas is keeping me in fight or flight response. Now I get addicted to fight or flight response the bigger I get because everybody's, you got to be big, you got to be buff, you got to be intimidating. The more fluidity I had. I remember when I was 11 years old, I knocked this nigga out who was like 240, 250 or some shit. He shouldn't have been that big at that age, but still, I knocked him the fuck out. I leaned him. I ain't knock him out because he wasn't snoozed or no shit like that. But I caught that nigga. I hit him with a mean one and he fell. And when they seen me drop him, because mind you, at 11 years old, I probably didn't even break 110 pounds. I had to be like 5'4", 110 pounds. So you could do the math of how big I really was. But again, I had so much trauma stored in my body, just all my life, that I knew how to release that energy, right? When I hit that motherfucker, he fell. Everybody was like, it stopped the whole fight. Niggas was like, how the fuck you hit him that hard? I ain't hit him hard. I just hit him. His eye swole on impact. Hit him hard and he fell. You feel me? Because I had a different fluidity with my body at that age. I didn't really work out. I just stored trauma. That's crazy. I didn't really work out. I just stored trauma and shit. And I released it how I released it. But again, that comes to the fight or flight response. So as we progress and shit, we develop more of the fight. And then you get to a point where you're just tired of fighting and you ain't got to fight no more, but you still don't rest because you don't know how, because you got to know that resting is active. So even from just the physical perspective, when I say doing the muscle ringing and rotating, like learn, if you want to understand what I mean with muscle ringing, because I can't show you, you have to learn anatomy and physiology. When they teach you about the muscles and shit, they teach you bicep. I got back day, leg day, quads, all of that shit. They teach you that shit. But what they don't ever teach you is the insertion and attachment points of muscles. The muscles you work the most, go study the insertion and attachment points and see. And I put money on it. I'll put money on it that the insertion and attachment always crosses over a joint. How the fuck you think you move? They don't want you mobile. They want you rigid. They don't want you fluid. They want you rigid. That's why you don't focus on the joints. But if you go to any Walmart, any Walgreens, the pharmaceutical, why do you think they have so many joint and bone shit? Shit for your joints and your bones. Like, why do you think that's a product? Because the natural shit, the natural way the muscles are supposed to align, they don't want you to align that way. You feel what I'm saying? You need a knee brace. You need a knee brace to go do the heavy squats and shit, all of that shit like that. The reason why you need a knee brace is because the muscles that attach and insert around and above the knee joint, you're not strengthening them. They have no mobility. If they have no mobility or dexterity, they can't gain strength. So you need a knee brace to hold it in place. You feel me? Elbow braces, shoulder braces. There's a lot of braces for your joints, but they don't teach you to strengthen your joints. We work all of these muscles around the joints. You feel me? But we don't really pay attention to how the muscles cross the joints because that's what we need to work out the most. You feel what I'm saying? So next time you do a workout, I mean all the joints around your neck, your waist, your hips, watch. And then the sad part about it is because a lot of the movements that we would do to actually strengthen, our muscles around the joints, motherfuckers call gay. You feel me? You call gay. It's like it's weird. It's like, yo, they programmed us so much to be this way. For us as men to be so fucked up this way. You feel what I'm saying? Because it takes away our ability to do anything else. We just want your body. So you give us that. And now women are going through the same shit. Women working out are being built like niggas, bro. And I get it, motherfuckers. I ain't mean bulking. You look like the Hulk, but your frame is not supposed to look like mine. Naturally. You feel me? Now, there are ways for women to work out as women, but it's more sympathetic. You feel me? It's more of the parasympathetic side. You feel me? Respectfully, the way in which I do muscle ringing and shit, like that's the feminine side of working out. I'm like, I've done the masculine side enough. I'm stored. Let me, get my shit back in alignment. They don't teach us to have the balance with it. But now they make everybody do the masculine way of working out, which does what? Shift you to fight or flight response. When you start, this is what I was meaning when I say after I do my muscle ringing, I go through my TREs, which are trauma release exercises. Trauma release exercises. My nerves start going crazy. They start jumping and shit. It looks like I'm having a seizure. But I'm not having a seizure. I'm fully coherent of everything, and I can stop it if I want to, but I allow my muscles to release. Taking it back to what I was talking about in nature, when you see an animal running from another animal. When that animal finally gets away, it shakes. It's releasing the trauma. What happens when we are in fight or flight response and we get away from the trauma? We don't shake shit. We store it better. If you've ever been in a fight or you ever been in a situation where, you just go home and you just still be mad and you just eventually stop being mad. We be thinking we calm down. You don't calm down. You just stop being mad. It's not the same shit. You just stop being angry, my guy. You didn't calm the fuck down. You feel me? But it translates the other way. When we take that time to say, all right, bet, let me stretch. Let me work this out. Let me do this and the third. Like, you ever notice, like, when you had a long day at work, you feel me? What you do? You take your neck to the left, take your neck to the right, and you stretch it real hard and shit like that. That's muscle ringing. Because your body innately knows you have to move around a joint. But again, because of the way in which we work out, we only go from left to right. We don't actually rotate around that area. Oh, I'm so tense. I'm so this, that, and the third. They got everything in place to capitalize off the fact that we stay in sympathetic mode. So now, with meditation, they took away meditation. They took away the understanding and the art of meditation and gave us prayer. I'm not saying don't pray. If you pray, do your thing. But again, understand that when you're meditating, it is about your breathing. It is far more about centering your mind and becoming oneness. I am in my chi. How the fuck do you control chi? You breathe into your diaphragm. You breathe into your diaphragm. And they say you breathe until your body dissolves. The reason why your body starts dissolving is because it's transitioning from fight or flight response to rest and digest response. That's why the only thing, when you've meditated long enough, the only thing you feel is you on the inside. You feel your head and you feel your stomach. Everything else seems to disappear because that's where all of your energy is stored when you're in fight or flight response. You dig what I'm saying? So when they teach you about meditation, everybody tells me, yo, as soon as I start meditating, I either get sleepy in my mind, because you're not digesting shit. Imagine, because I got to put it on a physical aspect for motherfuckers to get it. Imagine every day you go out, you buy something new. You go out, you buy something new. Now you ran out of closet space, you ran out of everything, and you have to clean your house. But everything, all this shit that you've been accumulating is there. Now it's time to clean up. You really think like that's when you finally notice how much shit you got. Like, that's when you really finally notice how much shit you got. You feel me? When we look at hoarders and shit, the reason why hoarders, a lot of times hoarding is you stuck in a fight or flight response and you choose to flee and they hide behind shit. All the shit they accumulate is what they're hiding behind. Because they can't fight. Not physically, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. So they hide, they flee, they run. Escapism. Like, we be thinking like all of the drugs and shit that they give us and shit, they be like, most of it, what are you trying to escape from? Alcohol and this. You fleeing and you can't flee. Now that's a bad combination when you are drunk because you fleeing, but you're in fight. You're gonna fight. That's bad. That's a dangerous motherfucker because they'll kill you. Because in their fight or flight response, they're actively using both perspectives of fight and flight. They're fleeing because they're drunk and they're going to fight you. There's no inhibition to what they're about to do to you. You might die. You might die. But now, when you're meditating, tying it back to the hoard and shit you collected, like all of the thoughts come because now you're attuned to them. You're aware of them. Let me say that. Now you're aware of what you've been paying attention to. Most people that accumulate shit just to be accumulated, they're not paying attention to what they're accumulating. Same with your mind and same with your thoughts. When you're not in a rest or digest space, you're not paying attention to what it is that you're accumulating. You're just accumulating shit. So now when you actually sit down and you start to breathe into your diaphragm and you start to sit with yourself, now you're shifting your body into parasympathetic. And you're like, damn, bro, these thoughts that keep flooding with you, they keep flooding. You're supposed to sit with them and breathe into them and digest them. This is why I always tell people, when you meditate, stop trying to clear your mind. Stop trying to make your mind blank. No, let what comes come so you can digest it and let your mind be clear. That's how you that's how you release it. Tying it back to the food. From the physical aspect, when we eat, we shit, we pee. You feel me? We sweat. That's how these are the 3-4 ways. There's 4 ways that the shit leaves your body. Defecation, perspiration, lacrimation, and defecation, urination, perspiration, and lacrimation. I talked about this in Hitting It Raw. And I mentioned lacrimation, which is crying, on the physical, on the spiritual level. But, for the physical, you just have perspiration, urination, and defecation. You don't think you spiritually, that's lacrimation. But the point that I'm making with that, you don't think that you spiritually and mentally have to defecate, urinate, and perspirate. It's called lacrimation. You're going to cry. You're going to release. You're going to get the shit the fuck out of you. So now when the thought comes and you have to process it, there's times even now, even to this day, I can be in a meditation session and I'm deep into the motherfucker. Like any motherfucker who say meditation is demonic and some shit, transcendental, fuck them, bro. Fuck them. They can suck a dick. They've never done it and they don't know what they're doing. But true meditation is calming your nervous system down and shifting it to parasympathetic mode. So there's times when I can be in my deep meditations, deep. And I'm not aware of it at first until I actually feel it, because I'm that deep into the meditation where my nervous system is no longer focusing on fight or flight response. So it's not worried about the peripheral side of my body. But tears will fall. It's not like I'm crying or anything like that, but it's like my eyes will water, but I'll be thinking about the thought, oh, I had to release that. Damn, I was holding that thought in so much that I had to release a tear from it. You feel what I'm saying? It's not a cry. It's not like I'm crying or no shit like that, but it's like, maybe if I would have cried then, maybe if the situation that occurred and I actually dealt with it then, I probably would have boohoo cried and it would have been out. You feel me? Tying it back to crying. After you have that good ass motherfucking cry, what do you feel? You ever notice, I know I've done it. That cry when motherfucker you, how did you breathe? You laughed at it, I know, but how did you breathe? Into where? You move past your motherfucking chest. You move into your diaphragm. 2 things go hand in hand. And then how after you cry for a long time and you chilling, and then that sneak up hit you, you're not crying no more. You just chilling. You calm your body warm. You just you take that last little deep. That's part of parasympathetic mode. You're digesting. You're legit digesting. We don't digest anymore, bro. We don't digest. We just consume and consume and consume, and we stay in fight mode. Feel me? So you got to get into a space where you now get into. This is the importance of meditation for us as men. I'm not saying you got to, but I'm saying if you want to calm your motherfucking nervous system down and only be in fight response when it's time to fight, you got to know how to turn this bitch off. And this is how you do it. Unless you take a medicine. This is the only healthy, natural way that I know how to do it. Everything else needs a stimulant. This is why when you're not, nature's so potent. When you're not able to, this is why chronic was so bad and why they finally capitalized on it. Because the reason why they hated black people smoking herb and they hated black people, they try to make everything. It makes them want to have sex with white women. It makes them do all kind of other shit. They did this because now they can get the GMO and they can fuck with it, everything like that. But smoking weed puts you in parasympathetic mode. Two ways. One, because when you hit it hard and you got to hold it down, you got to breathe. You breathe down into your diaphragm. When you smoking weed, right, you don't breathe it into your chest. You breathe it into your diaphragm. I know I'm not encouraging y'all to smoke weed, but whenever you smoke, you breathe it into your diaphragm. Now, weed also has sedatives in it. Now, the sedatives now calm your nervous system down even more. That's why it's always been a problem. You feel me? Weed hasn't been a problem for it being illegal. It's been a problem for being the legalities came because of how it fucks up the money. But now they back into it. They got medicinal marijuana so they can control your addictions to the shit now. All you need is to be able to breathe correctly. Breathe down into your diaphragm. You feel me? Get into a space where when you're active, you're not holding your breath. Most of us, when we working out, when we push beyond our limit, we start holding our breath. And when you do take that breath in after you hold it, you still only breathe it into your chest. You can't work out like that. That's why you end up losing oxygen. You got to drop the weight and shit because you've reached the fight. The fight is over. Now you can, and you still only take shallow breaths into your chest. Over time, what do you think that does to your body? You're deoxygenated. Your body's not getting as much oxygen as it could. You feel me? So you got to learn how to shift that shit. And your state of, in your heat, like the heats of your moments, you have to learn that breathing deeply into your diaphragm is how you absolve yourself of the tension. Not just breathing, 10 breaths until you, counting and shit. Like breathe down into your diaphragm. Hold it. Breathe up and let it out. The reason why you want to hold it when you breathe into your diaphragm because you're gaining control of your system. Whether you know it or not, your body's not in control in fight or flight response. You know why? Because your body can't think in that moment. It's get the fuck away. You feel what I'm saying? This is why your blood pressure increases. This is why your eyes constrict. This is why people there's a lot of different things that happen in the sympathetic mode that people don't pay attention to. Now imagine you have high blood pressure because you eat bullshit. You feel me? Specifically lipids and fats that store into they end up as plaques in your body because you're not taking liquid lipids. Now you're in fight or flight response. You're gonna always have high blood pressure. Like when people ask me, like, how does somebody get off high blood pressure? You're not until you are willing to register and to start doing things that you can use to shift your nervous system over to the parasympathetic. You're not going to get off high blood pressure because you have to control it. It's not your food. It's not what you eat. The shit that you eat and shit, it does make it harder, but it ain't going to stop if you don't know how to dilate your vessels because you're always in a space of constricting them. You feel what I'm saying? They constrict so the blood pressure can increase for you to work out harder. For you, you're not working out 24/7. Why the fuck is your blood pressure high? Because you're in a sympathetic mode. Now you go into a parasympathetic mode. You meditate 30 minutes to an hour every day. You start to regulate. I'm not saying from your first jump start and go that high, but no, build up to it and watch how your life changes. Watch how your life changes. Watch how you respond to things. Watch how more active and fluid you get as a person. Because now you're starting to digest the things that are in your mind. Oh, I got poor mental health. I got bad mental health. The reason why your mental health is fucked up is because you have so much stored that you can't digest. Just like fucking physical health. This is what I be telling y'all. Motherfuckers is mentally obese. Motherfuckers are spiritually obese because they don't turn their bodies into the parasympathetic mode. They don't shift it off. You got to take that moment to meditate deeply. Breathe into your diaphragm. Hold it. Breathe out. Deal with the thoughts that come. Don't try to erase them. Oh, damn, man. And it could be anything. It's like you could think about why a motherfucker, why you even had a thought about when you was at Wendy's or some shit. And then like sit with that thought. Something will be revealed out of that. And then your body will stop holding it. Your mind will stop holding it and it'll stop storing in other aspects of your body. Because there's an emotion that is also tied to the thought. It has to go hand in hand. The meditation and the digestion and the switching your body into the parasympathetic mode merges that so you can understand. As long as you in fight or flight response, you don't have time to feel. You feel me? Motherfuckers be broken ass men and shit. Fuck these bitches. No, nigga, you might need to understand a little bit more about fuck these bitches and deal with that feeling, bro. You feel what I'm saying? When I started meditating, that was the first moment that I like because after when I actually got meditation down packed and I started doing it consistently, I wake up like 5 o'clock, meditate, go work out and shit. My workouts would be so much more impactful. You feel me? Because I went into the motherfucker in parasympathetic mode, turned it on, and then went back out. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't stay in it and overly work my muscle. This is why motherfuckers be like, I need motivation. You don't need motivation. You don't need pre-workout. You don't need burnout. You need to fucking rest, homie. You need to rest to give yourself a reason to turn on a fight or flight response to go in there. Stop having it already on when you go in there. You feel what I mean? So as I'm meditating and shit, and I'm learning how to meditate, this is when it was like, yo, I started dealing with the feelings and the emotions of my heartbreak. I didn't just keep suppressing them and saying, nah, fuck that bitch. It was like, nah, bro. I started dealing with them. I started facing them. And then I started facing my feelings and emotions of life. Like motherfuckers now, they'll tell me, oh, you're so emotionally intelligent, this, that, and the third, because I breathe into my diaphragm, because I know how to put my body in parasympathetic mode now. Because all of my thoughts are tied to emotions and all of my emotions are tied to thoughts. Women that tell you all the time, you feel me? Oh, as soon as their emotions get wild, they start thinking random shit that ain't got shit to do with shit. Because your emotions or thoughts are one. They are one. But you don't know that they're one if you're not willing to embrace how they are one and by digesting them. You feel what I mean? So the way I was going with this as far as resting, I was just talking about chilling, but I'm glad it came out this way in this episode because when I rest, I now have to actively rest, which means I have to sit with myself. I have to meditate. I have to intentionally do things to shift my body into parasympathetic mode. All of this shit, go Google it. Go look up what I'm talking about. Go break down the shit that I'm saying and you'll see what I mean. But this is shit they keep from us. Because when you are a person who has this information, you know how to turn this shit off. Motherfuckers be asking me like, yo, how do you maintain your weight? How do you not? You're like, the fuck, I shouldn't be on medicine in my 30s any fucking way. But the fact that we're having motherfuckers in that space where they're already on medicine in their 30s and shit, that's scary, bro. Because the shit got like my generation, we've been seeing trauma since we was kids. Like they've been televising the trauma on us for a long time. We've been in fight or flight response, ready for some shit to pop off. That's why when shit pop off, it don't even surprise us no more. It got to be extreme to surprise us. Like motherfuckers like, yo, they didn't take COVID seriously like when they can't. Cause nigga, y'all didn't show us that we needed to turn our fight or flight response up yet until we started seeing people die. That's sad. You don't react to shit until you start to see people die. That's when you take it serious. That's when you know that, okay, this is real. But you think that's an accident? Every day you're programmed for that shit. Every fucking day you're programmed for that shit. And as men, we're constantly taught that we got to be big boys. We got to be grown men. We got to be this, that, and the third. We can't cry. We can't feel. And all of that is designed to teach us we have to be fighters at all times. Not resters, not digesters, not people who can actually turn this shit the fuck off. I'm going to challenge y'all, bro. I don't usually challenge y'all, but I'm going to challenge y'all. Meditate for a little bit. Like sit with yourself and actually breathe into your diaphragm. As far as you can, expand your stomach. Hold it for like 10 seconds and then let it out. Get used to doing that. Watch how your body dissolves. Watch how your body dissolves. Then pay attention to your mind. Watch the things that come to your mind and watch how your thoughts change. You feel me? I challenge you to do that shit. Learn how to start shifting your body into parasympathetic mode. Watch how you change. Watch how you start to realize your temperature levels start to go down. Your health levels start to increase. Your efficiency in the gyms working out, it starts to improve because you're not giving yourself time to rest, because rest is something that's active. It's not something that's passive that we do. We have to intentionally make sure that every single day that we deal with a fight or flight response, we have to equally shift our body into a rest or digest response. And don't forget to check out Pala Cafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all of the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Pala Cafe Clothing. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. That's rest, bro. That's rest. Um, I kind of had an intention to talk about chilling and shit, but I feel like this sufficed as to what rest really is. Cause I've been resting. And a lot of times, like the iwi, I probably started talking about this, I don't know, but at the beginning, but like the iwi, I haven't done anything in the iwi in a minute. But like I said, the whole they got the whole curriculum already in there. So if I'm not showing up to, hey, here's a webinar, fuck it, just do the course. Like go through the course if you have anything that you want to touch up on, because all of the information that you have is there. Go through old videos. I have over 200 plus recent, like previous ones where I'm bringing shit down where you can go in and you can validate it. But I needed to rest. I need to actively take my mind away from this, not just separate myself from it and say, hey, like I don't need to focus. Like I've been trading and investing for since 2015, 16. Like that's when I started doing the shit. Like, and then in 2000, like 17, 18, after the Bitcoin drop, that's when I was at it every single day, learning how to practice it, learning how to master it. And I never took a day off. You feel me? But I never needed to. But at the same time, I never took a day off. But it's like I needed to rest away from it. That means in the process of taking I needed, in regards to this, I didn't need to just remove myself from it and say, I don't need to do it or think about it. No, I need to digest it. There's moments where I have to digest all that I've learned. I have to digest all that I do. I have to digest these things, which means I have to intentionally shift my body in regards to this to the right paradigm. Because if I'm staying in fight or flight response and I keep acting, that's when you get insanity. You start making mistakes. You start doing stupid shit. You start making the wrong moves and be like, oh, I'm in this too long, or I should have got out here. I should have did this. You start violating your own processes because you haven't digested a lot of the systems that you created. And that was just from that perspective. But now I'm like, I don't have to, I set myself up to not need the ad, well, to use the ads, to not need to constantly post on social media like that and all these things. And now it's like having to figure out what to do with myself. And now I'm able to rest, not sleep, not be tired and just, no, actually sit and rest, sit in a space where I can constantly shift my body into the parasympathetic mode and let the release happen. A lot of us need to release a lot of shit. And we don't need to wait until it's a dire moment to release and we're forced into releasing shit. Actually sit and rest. Learn how to make your nervous system go into parasympathetic mode. It's not hard. It's not difficult. It's not impossible. They teach us that, yeah, breathing is automatic, but breathing is also controlled. And because breathing is both controlled and automatic, it is simultaneously the one thing we have within our bodies that we can control. Every religious text, everything teaches you, study the breath of life. The breath of life why is the breath of life so important? Why is that so important? Because it's the one thing that you have control of. And once you learn how to have control over it in every regard, you know how to fight. You know when to fight. You know when to pull back, when to not. If everything that you do is about fight or fight response and you can't flee, you're going to be in danger. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. But when you learn how to digest, you start to heal that shit. You start to calm that shit down. You start to heal better. You feel me? Breathe. Breathe, release your chest, drop your tongue from your neck. Like, pay attention to that. If you got an old lady and shit like that, and she like, get her ass out of that shit too. That's why we be clashing with our women, because we're both in fight or flight response. Ain't nobody rested or digested in this motherfucker. And we just keep accumulating shit. Going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home, doing stupid shit. We get caught up in the same routine where we fighting every fucking day. It's hell, bro. It's hell. But we can make it heaven by learning how to breathe correctly. Calm your motherfucking body down. Breathe down into your diaphragm. Hold that shit. Learn how to meditate. When you meditate, deal with both the feelings and the thoughts. You feel me? That stroke becomes because our hearts are fucked up. That left side drops because all of the tension is being stored in the heart and it's trying its best to keep pumping without all of the release from. It's trying its best to keep pumping while still needing to release all of the shit from our nervous systems that is being stored there emotionally. You feel me? The migraines and the headaches that we get comes from the thoughts. That's the overwhelming of the thoughts. The heartaches, that comes from the emotions. When you put the two together, the self is all fucked up. But you need the parasympathetic mode in order to quell that shit. Because you got to calm it down so you can digest it, so you can dissipate it and you can release it. If you cry, cry. Cry. You'll have moments when you meditate where shit will make your eyes well up. Let that shit go. That's what your soul is doing. It's like, all right, it's time to shit. That's how I look at crying now these days. Like, I don't look at it as, oh, I'm so weak. It's not, I got shit, bro. This guy talk. So the women ain't supposed to be here. This so real conversation. So I can talk like this around us. You feel me? But like, yeah, when I feel that shit welling up, it's like, it's the same shit. It's like when you gotta have a bowel movement and shit. Like you feel, I gotta go shit. So you go shit. Fuck that. Why when we gotta cry? I'm not gonna hold it. I'm not gonna cry. Nigga, think about it like this. From this point forward, think about crying like this, bro. If you got a shit and your stomach feel it, you're not gonna hold it. I mean, unless you somewhere you gotta be, or somewhere you you can't let it go. But you're not gonna hold that shit forever. You wouldn't hold that shit forever. You'll be like, I gotta go. You'll make plans to leave this motherfucker, or you'll wait. You'll be like, I ain't gotta go to that bathroom. But as soon as I get to the crib, it's on. You feel what I'm saying? Why don't we have that same energy with crying? Because of what they attributed crying to. Crying is a release. Crying is a release. When our eyes well up, it's I got a shit, bro. That's how I look at it. I don't look at it on no peaches and cream type shit. It's like, oh, I'm soft, I'm crying. No, fuck that, man. I got a shit. My soul got a shit, bro. And I'm not gonna deny it. Either I gotta pee or I gotta shit, but my soul gotta let some shit go. So, like I said, when I'm in my meditative states and those tears start to fall, they don't be heavy tears and no shit like that. Like sometimes they be thick. Sometimes it's just a small one that'll stop like the midway of my cheek. Sometimes they run all the way down to my chin, like, and I can feel them, but I don't stop them no more. I feel like I'm shitting. My soul got a shit, and that's how I look at it, bro. Sometimes we got to be manly with shit these days, because niggas, we already programmed that crying is what it is, but we don't look at shit like that. We wouldn't intentionally be constipated when we know that we can let it go. So why in the fuck would we do the same shit when it comes to our emotional side and our mental side? When these thoughts come, when these realities come during meditation and shit, just got to let them go, because what that's doing is allowing your nervous system to calm down. And if you don't want to cry, practice muscle ringing. Start ringing out your muscles. You'll realize that, damn, I'm going to tell you like this. Learn about the joints of your body, your ankle joints, your knee joints, your hip joints, your sacroiliac joints, your elbow joints, your shoulder joints, and your neck joints, right? Learn about the insertion, the muscles that insert and attach around those joints, and learn how to move them. And then learn how to rotate around the joint. I promise you, the moment you do that, flexion, you don't flex expansion is flexion and extension at the same time. So when you fully expand your muscles, you have them in a state of, like, let's say if you're trying to expand your triceps and your biceps, right? You'll extend your arm straight to where both your bicep is engaged and your tricep is engaged. Y'all can visualize what I'm saying. Then rotate across the shoulder joint. I put money, you'll feel the whole stretch, and you'll feel it like it's wringing out a rag. Now, when you do that over your whole body, you release that shit. And then now, study trauma release exercises before doing that. But when you study trauma release exercise, so you have a visual of what's going to happen, your body's going to release. It's going to shake. It feels like it's having a seizure, but it's going to shake. So now that ties into something deeper, because when a person is epileptic, or when this person just had a seizure, what was your body saying? Bitch, I got to shut the fuck down so you can release this shit. That's crazy. When you are seizure prone, that means you are storing so much that your body needs to automatically shut down, do an automatic shutdown of the system to make you have a seizure to release shit. Don't get to that point. Please don't get to that point, because they're going to put you on medicines that offset the shit, as opposed to teaching you to shift your shit into parasympathetic mode. You feel me? Damn, this shit is frustrating, because it's like nobody sees this. And it's right there. But it's not right there because they keep it from you. That's wild, bro. That's sad. That's fucking sad. Because again, it's not profitable. The moment you can heal and take care of yourself, this shit ain't profitable no more. Not to the motherfucker who has already put systems in place, stores, and all of this shit. They keep supply of all of this shit. Osteotech, shark cartilage. They got all of this shit. You feel me? Your joints ain't supposed to grind together. Why are they grinding together? Oh, it's because you're losing cartilage. No, you're losing synovial fluid because your joints are always pressing together because you're constantly contracting and extending. I mean, you're constantly contracting and extending the muscles to the point where they shorten. They shorten across the joint, which makes them grind. It's supposed to rotating and expanding against them to get you to move out. One of my aunts just told me, I'm going to say this, I'm going to wrap it up. She just seen me after a long time. She said, you get taller? I did. This time it wasn't a no until you trip. No, I did get taller because my body is realigning. My erector spinae muscles are now strengthening within the core of my spine. You feel what I'm saying? To make me stand more upright. My shoulders, my shoulders and my posture is in the right leg way. My joints are able to move now because I have expanded them. I have expanded the muscles, allowing them to separate the joint as opposed to constrict and bring the joints together. But again, as I release and I do those exercises and I do my shit changes. Like a lot of the stresses that I used to face, I don't face anymore, but I know how to. I know how to make my body go into parasympathetic mode and calm the fuck down. Because when my body's calm, my mind is calm. When my mind is calm, my spirit is calm. And now when I'm able to meditate, I'm able to breathe into my diaphragm and actually use the parasympathetic mode during meditation. I get my clarity. I get the answers that I need in life. I need to, you know what I'm saying? Because you already know what answers you need because you formulated the questions and you went and found the information. You just haven't digested it yet. You feel me? And if I need to cry, I'm going to cry because I don't look at this crying no more. I look at this shitting, bro. Like, think about it. It's like, yo, man, I'm so hurt, bro. My soul hurt, bro, man. I got to go cry. When you feel it and you speak it as if it's like, man, my stomach hurt, bro. I got to shit. Same shit, man. My soul hurt, bro. I got to cry. I got to cry real quick. You feel me? It ain't got to be long. It ain't got to be long. You feel me? But then when you hold it in too long, then it becomes harder to get out. And then now you start facing other problems, spiritual hemorrhoids. You feel me? Or spiritual colorectal cancer. It's shit like that that's real. But you have to look at it. It's all based off of digesting your inability to do so. But I'm going to go ahead and end it there, yo. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And our kids, our sons, now's the time. As they babies and shit, go ahead and teach them how to turn on both. Let them know when you playing sports, when you active in the game, when you do this shit, yeah, turn your sympathetic mode on. Fight or flight response, you better not flee. But when you done with that, turn your parasympathetic mode on. It's okay. It's okay. When you overwhelmed, when you frustrated, when things are triggering you into that space, go into your parasympathetic mode and calm the fuck down. When you can't get away from shit, turn that bitch on and turn the fuck up and do what you got to do. I ain't going to go beyond that part, but do what you got to do. But when it's not necessary, turn this to parasympathetic mode, rest and digest the situation and reassess it. You feel me? Yes, the boys will be boys. Yes, we can turn them into men a lot faster if they learn how to regulate their nervous system. Because that's really all they need. Some of us are so emotional and volatile in today's day and time because we don't know that a parasympathetic mode is a thing and we don't know how to turn the bitch the fuck on. You turn one off, you turn the other on. It's that simple. Your body's like, nigga, just do it. Nigga, the fuck? Breathe, motherfucker. Release that stomach. Breathe down into that diaphragm. You can do it anytime during the day. When you feel like you're in sympathetic mode and you can't scrap out, fucking let me go to parasympathetic mode. I'll fuck you up. Or as opposed to, I'm going to stay in sympathetic mode until the end of the day so I can fuck you up later. No. If you can't do it right now, go ahead and switch to parasympathetic mode. And when the time comes, you turn that bitch back the fuck on. Because we know how easy it is to turn the sympathetic mode on. But now we have to learn how we have to make it easy to turn the parasympathetic mode on. Because that's the only way we're going to heal. But go ahead and kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables because I'm in it there. Damn, I said a shout out there, but I'm going to go ahead and there. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables, and I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.